This is the plaintiff, James DeMarco. He says he and the defendant were together for 9 years and were even engaged at one time. They bought a house together, split the cost, and lived happily until they got into a big fight where she eventually left and moved out for good. He's suing the defendant for her half of the expenses because she abruptly left for a grand total of $1,819.75. This is the defendant, Jean Rossi. She says the plaintiff got physical with her and she wasn't about to stand for that, so she moved out. The plaintiff said he wanted to stay in the house and told her he would cover all expenses and maintain the place since he was going to live there. This lawsuit was filed simply because the plaintiff didn't want to break up with her, and this is his attempt at revenge. She's accused of leaving a guy high and dry. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,676.66 for everything she's out.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
James DeMarco, you are suing your former girlfriend/fiance, Jean Rossi for $1,819.75 that you say she owes you and refuses to repay. You are counterclaiming against him $2,676.66 for money you say he owes you and refuses to repay. How long were the two of you together?
9 years, about 9 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Never ended up tying the knot?
No.
Okay. But did end up engaged at one point?
Yes.
Okay, and how'd that go? That's when you broke up? You were engaged at the time you broke up?
No.
You broke off the engagement, but you kept being boyfriend-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay, do you have children together or no?
No.
Okay, what happened here?
Well,
why are you here?
Why am I here? Because of when we broke up in October of '08. Okay.
Whose idea was the breakup, by the way?
Well, more or less hers.
Okay.
Okay, and she was moving out. She gave me an option either. We had bought a house together. We were engaged. We bought a house together in '05. Okay, we were both living in the house. And when we broke up in '08, she gave me an option to stay in the house. She was leaving. She goes, or she stays in the house and I move out.
Okay.
But she was going to give me 1 week. I've been living in a house all my life. I had too much stuff to move in 1 week. And she wanted to change the lock. So I said, I'll stay in the house. And she said, okay. She even told me, I'm not helping you with the mortgage. I said, I understand. I'm going to try to keep it up myself.
Okay.
Okay. I made the November.
How'd that go?
I lasted 2 months.
Okay. So you paid November and you paid December, and then what happened? You tried to get the mortgage renegotiated with the bank, but
yes,
they won't renegotiate if you're actually paying on time.
Well, that's what they told me. I wasn't late enough. They said, you're not even late. Forget about it.
No, well, you think I don't believe you? I know that that's how it works. Right. Okay, I mean, with many banks. So then you had to stop paying to try to get them to renegotiate.
Right.
That ended up not going so well. You ended up in foreclosure, I guess.
Going towards foreclosure.
So you had a short sale.
But we also, the house was, by the way, when we did break up in November, I listed the house with a real estate company,
right.
Okay? And it was on the market. So I was trying to renegotiate it where I can hang on to the house long enough to sell it to help, save our credit.
Right.
But that didn't work. And then I renegotiated with the bank again in April.
Okay, so once you missed January, February, March, and April, then they said, oh, okay, now we'll pay attention to...
Well, we'll listen to you somewhat.
Right. But in any event, your mess ends up being resolved by a sale of the house, which occurs on when?
The closing was January 15th of 2010. It was a short sale.
Okay. Why are you suing Ms. Rossi?
I'm suing Ms. Rossi for
the 2 payments you did make?
The 2 payments that I did make.
Because you lived there 14 more months and didn't pay anything.
I understand that, but she still owned the house with me, and and living there free.
But while you did that, you ruined her credit too. So are you going to give her like a half a month for all those months that you lived there rent free to try to as a compensation for ruining her credit?
Well,
not so much, right? Okay, you're also suing her for $697.40 owed for a personal loan to a friend.
Right.
Explain that.
When we bought the house in 2005, okay, neither one of us were financially able to come up with money for buying a house, and that's when I went to my friend and asked him if he would loan us $5,000.
Okay.
And he did. Okay. Upon that, we had the money to purchase the house, possibly purchase the house or whatever we needed for the house. And from that point on, we were paying him back $126 every month. And Jean made up the amortization schedule here, and she gave me half of it. I put my half in, and he would get paid. Come November or October when she left, in November I told her, I said, what about the bill for Art? And the response I got was, he's your friend, you pay him.
Okay.
And which I did.
Now, Ms. Rossi, what's going on?
Okay, where do you want me to start?
Well, according to him, you moved out, you left him high and dry, and he wants his half of all the stuff you left him high and dry on. What's your response
Well, when I
to that?
left high and dry, he agreed that he would pay those mortgage payments and maintain the house.
And then what was going to be the deal, though? What if he was able to maintain the mortgage payments, and then 5 years down the road, the economy was better, the housing market was better, and he sold the house? Would you be knocking on his door saying, I want half of the house?
There was no half to get.
Let's just assume in a magical world with unicorns and rainbows that he was able to make the mortgage payments, weather the storm, bank had renegotiated with him, he could handle it, economy gets better, housing market gets better, sells the house at a profit. Would you have expected half of the profits?
Well, that was never discussed because the discussion...
You're not much of a planner, are you two?
Well, the discussion was that the house was... He would stay there until we sold the house. We listed it the next month.
And then when you sold the house, what did you expect?
We listed it the next month. I expected nothing because I knew...
We listed the house. You're going to tell me you didn't expect to get half of the proceeds if there were proceeds?
Well, we kind of knew up front that there wasn't going to be any proceeds. We had the realtor come through and do an appraisal, and this is what you're going to get for the house. You're not going to walk away with any money. And
so there was no
out,
unicorn land envisioned?
No.
Because he was going to sell it right away?
No.
All right, well, as I understand your answer to the complaint, I don't owe him this money, Judge, because he owes me all this other money, too, and it's all a wash. Tell me about that.
As far as what's owed to Art, first of all, I'm very confused because I received a letter from Jim that says that he wants this money towards $5,000 back that was to fix up the house. So is this money to fix up the house, or was this money as a down payment on the house?
Okay.
Now, yes, I know that he borrowed money from Art.
Were you there when he borrowed the money?
No.
And he's the only one who went and asked?
He borrowed the money. I did not ask for the money.
Art, you got a last name?
Bigley.
Come on up, Mr. Bigley.
Okay.
Who physically asked you for the money?
Jim did.
All right. Was Jean present when it happened?
No, she was not.
Did Ms. Rossi ever discuss the money with you?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And the payments that you got, would you get them in cash or by check?
By check.
And was it on a joint account?
It started out on her account, and then it kept falling behind every month. And I told Jim the agreement was that he paid me by the 5th of the month, so he took over, and then I got it on his account.
Okay. Did you ever have him sign anything?
Yes?
May I see what you had him sign? Now, you're suing him for $2,676.66, half of the money received from the loan company. Tell me about that.
There was a joint loan.
By the way, this says just James DeMarco. It doesn't have Jean Rossi's name on it. Okay, so go ahead.
There was a joint loan that we took out. I would say about 80% of that was a debt consolidation loan for my credit cards.
Right.
The money that was remaining was paid to both of us. And that was $5,353.
That's ironic. So that one was only in his name, but it was really for the two of you for the house. And then that one was in both your names, but it was really for you for your debt. This is what we call in Spanish un arroz con mango. Okay,
But
you know what that
there was a
means?
check.
What does that mean?
He
Wait, don't you
signed
want to
the
know?
loan.
What's an arroz con mango?
I have no idea.
Okay, wait a second. I'm going to tell you. A rice with mango. You can't tell where the grain of rice begins and the mango begins because it's it's the natural organic messiness of every relationship. Why did you two break up?
Our relationship deteriorated. We got into a physical altercation. The police were called. Yes.
In your complaint, you talk about how you treated her like a porcelain doll, had bubble baths and dinner ready for her.
He did in the beginning, but that all went away.
What was the beginning? You were with him 9 years.
Yeah. So for 6 or 7 years, I would say yes, that those things did happen.
And was that the first time that it was physical that
Yes.
night? Okay.
Yes.
And then that was the end.
That was the end. Things had been verbal and just not in a good way.
Were
up
you
until
leaving
that
him
point.
when it got physical?
No.
No.
We had discussed selling the house, prior to this happening. We had discussed selling the house. We were
Did you
sleeping
think
in
she was leaving
separate
you already?
rooms.
Oh, yes.
Were you heard about that?
Well, yeah. At the time, I loved her very much. I'm not going to sit there and say I don't. I'm not going to lie. Not in a court of law. And I did love her. I loved her very much. And I thought we had a wonderful life going together. And as a matter of fact, Your Honor, the loan that she's discussing about that she's suing me for, that's the reason why I signed on something that was $20,964 at 25%. Why? We bought a house together. We were engaged. I thought we had a life together. I figured once we're married, we'll pay off the bill. We could live a wonderful life, go on some nice vacations.
Okay. For all intents and purposes, you had a stronger, deeper, longer relationship than many marriages in this country.
Thank you.
And I know that that's very painful, but sometimes they end.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. The question, if you were with somebody for 9 years and they got physical with you one time, would you leave them?
Yeah, absolutely, because if they do it once, they're totally going to do it again.
Yeah, but what if he says, look, I've got a good history in 9 years, never do it again? What do you think?
I would leave them. I think they're cheating.
Cheating?
You can't go 9 years.
What do you think?
He would do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's somebody who does it is predisposed to doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Runs in his family.
Boy, but that's a runs in his family.
Yes.
Okay.
His father and his mother. It does a lot.
Okay, I got it. I mean, geez, it's not like Oprah going inside the courtroom.
Matters of the heart are very, very difficult. And no judge is equipped to try to figure out and lay blame in a situation like that. You guys have a rich, complicated history of financial coming in and coming out. Just, it flows in, it flows out, it intermingles, like every couple, okay? And the problem is that you cannot possibly expect that a court of law can separate the pots and pans of your life like that. I cannot sit down now, analyze the last 9 years, okay, and figure out who had the salad, who had the orange juice, who had, we can't, it's not a restaurant bill that you just can't do that. Because for every time that you say something that sounds like she owes you, she volleys back, yeah, but then he owes me. And then you volley back, yeah, but wait, but then she owed me for this other thing. And then she volleys back, and the next thing you know, we spend 9 years trying to sort it all out. It's impossible. Courts are not in the business of doing that. So I'm sorry to both of you on both of your claims, but I find that it's a wash. And I wish you both luck for your future, okay?
Thank you.
Well, so the award is nothing on either side here, so step on in, and if you'd stand right next to him right over there, please. What's your reaction to this outcome?
Well, the judgment's the judgment. You have to go with what the judge says. I don't agree with it.
What was it like to be in there standing right next to the person you loved for all those years?
You love her very much, and I helped her out. And
I know, but she's standing right there, and you're looking right at her. What was that like?
Yeah, it's awkward. It's a very awkward situation. I want to put it behind me now and move on to my next adventure, and she can move on to a next victim. I don't know.
Step on in here. What about for you? What was that like for you in the courtroom with him standing right there?
That was fine. That was fine. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's over.
I mean, he's there telling us telling everyone how much he loved you and treated you like a porcelain doll all those years.
A few of those years.
Yeah, that must have been nice. What did you love about him at that time?
At that time back then? Oh, he was a great guy. He was very kind and very thoughtful, and we had a great relationship, but things change.
Things changed? Did they change over that one fight?
No. Things have just been dwindling for a couple of years.
Do you have any feelings left for him at all?
No, I don't.
All right, Harvey.
Okay, Kurt, when you're in a relationship with somebody, going into that relationship, if you're moving in, you should establish who gets what in terms of the big things in the relationship, cars and things like that. I know it's uncomfortable, but trust me, makes a lot of sense. And that will do it for this case. Litigants, for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.